Math 3, Unit 7, Section 7. Today we're going to talk about converting parabolas and circles to descriptive form, or also you can think of it as like vertex or center form. Parabolas. How many squared terms do parabolas have? One. Okay? One squared term. Okay, how many square terms do circles have? Well, actually, we're talking about, this is really a number, so it's two squared terms. Okay, so if we go to this first example, how many squared terms does it have? One. So because it has one squared term, we know it is a parabola. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this equation. And we want to put this into our descriptive form. When you have one squared term, you are trying to get the variable that is not squared by itself. So what am I trying to get by itself for this first equation? We want to get the y by itself. What will I do first to get the y by itself? Divide by 4. Very good. When I rewrite this, remember we write this as a fraction in front, so I have 1/4 x minus 2 squared equals y plus 1. What do I do next to get y by itself? Very good. Subtract 1. When I rewrite this, I'm going to end up flipping the equation and writing the y on the left side. So this is going to be y equals 1/4 x minus 2 squared minus 1. Are there any questions up to this point right now? Okay, this is a y equals equation. So therefore, what direction will this parabola go? Up. Very good. We know it's going up because this is positive. Y equals means it's going to curve with the y-axis, either going up or down, and we know specifically up because this is a positive in front. Okay, what is my vertex? 2, -1 is correct. Always set this equal to 0. X minus 2 equals 0. So we're going to put a 2 there. And then -1. If you have your cell phone out right now, I'm going to take them away. Please put them away. Okay, what is my next step? Very good. You have to do the 4c equals the reciprocal of your a value. And so in this case, it'll be 4c equals what? 4. And we divide by 4 to both sides to get c by itself, and we find that c equals 1. Okay, so to start graphing, now that we have this information, we can pretty much graph everything. Okay, so starting with our vertex, where will I go? Right 2, down 1. Good, and I'm going to put a V there for vertex. Because my parabola is going up, that means from your vertex, to get your focus, you also go up. And so we're going to go up 1 and make a point, and that is my focus. Where do you go for your directrix?
Down 1.
Very good, down 1. And we draw our directrix. How do I get my focal chord endpoints? Yeah, whatever your C value is, you multiply that by 2 and you go that distance in both directions from your focus. So 1 times 2 is 2. So we go 2 to the right from the focus and 2 to the left from the focus. And then you draw your curve hitting your focal chord endpoints. I'm going to skip our axis of symmetry for just a minute. What is the focus point?
2, 0.
Good. My directrix?
Y equals -2.
Y equals -2. And remember that whatever your equation, if that's y equals, your directrix is also y equals. What are my focal chord endpoints?
0, 0, and 4, 0.
Very good. Who remembers line of symmetry? What does symmetry mean?
Equal.
Equal parts, yeah, it's like a reflection of each other. Do you remember what it, were you going to tell me more, Bella?
Is it like where like the line is where you fold it like the same?
Exactly. It's symmetrical if you were to fold it. Exactly. And so your line of symmetry is always through your vertex and where your focus is. That right there is the line of symmetry. Okay, because it's symmetrical on each side. What is that line of symmetry?
X equals 2.
Very good. Any questions here? Okay. Moving on to the next example. Okay, this goes back to what we did in section 6. Okay, we need to put this in descriptive form. Okay, looking at this equation right now, it is, what is my squared term?
Y.
Which means we want to get the x by itself. Is the x by itself?
Yes.
Okay, so now we know the direction right now of our graph. Which way will this go?
Right.
To the right, and also we know it's going to be a circle or a parabola.
Circle.
Parabola.
A parabola, why?
Because it has one square term.
It only has one squared term. Okay? Parabola, and it's going right. Can a circle go right or left? No, it's just, yeah, a circle.
Can leave it right or left.
Okay, you're right. You can translate it. Okay. So we need to find our vertex. So we want to put this in descriptive form. And how will I do that? What will I factor out?
2. The half. Oh, no, yeah.
The half. Remember that we're factoring out whatever is in front of our squared term. So we will factor out x equals, we're going to take 1/2 out, which means that we're dividing each of these terms right here with the y by 1/2. Okay, well we know that 1/2 divided by 1/2 is going to cancel out and you're just going to be left with y squared. This is a different story. You can write this out though. Okay, we can write it out this way. 2 divided by 1/2. This 2 you can write over 1. And what would I do to solve that? Very good. 2 over 1 you keep the same. You change division to multiplication and then you flip the second fraction to 2 over 1. And you would end up with what? 4 over 1, which is 4. You getting that, Michael? Good. Let's sit up, please. So we have plus 4y, and then what?
Blank.
Plus blank. What's going to go on the outside?
-1.
Minus 1. And then this is saying 1/2 times the blank. Therefore, we need what?
-1.
-1/2 times the blank in order to balance our equation. So if we are adding something, we have to also subtract the same thing in order to balance it out on the same side. Okay, what is my next step? Good. 4 divided by 2 is?
2.
And 2 squared is? 4. How will I write my equation?
X equals 1/2.
X equals 1/2. What will go in the parentheses?
X plus 2.
Y plus 2 squared. And we all understand that this parenthesis right here, it factors to be that y plus 2 squared, right? Okay? And then we have to combine these together. we have negative 1, and then negative 1/2 times 4. If you want to write that as 4 over 1, negative 1 times 4 is,
Negative 4.
and then 2 times 1 makes 2. And what's negative 4 divided by 2?
Negative 2.
So I have negative 1 minus 2, which makes negative 3, right? Negative 1 minus 2 makes negative 3. There's our equation. Okay, any questions on any of the numbers here that we need to talk about? Okay, what is my vertex? Very good. Negative 3, negative 2. We know it's that way because we set y plus 2 equal to 0. We would get y equals negative 2, so the negative 2 goes in the y spot and the other number goes in the x. Let's plot that. Negative 3, negative 2, and that is our vertex. Now pay attention because we said that the vertex is going to the right. Okay, how do we know how far to go? 4c equals what? 2. We divide by 4 to both sides and we get c equals what? 1/2. For my focus, we go the direction of the parabola. So which way will I go? 1/2 to the right is my focus. Where's my directrix? 1/2 to the left. How do I know my focal chord endpoint? Double 1/2 by 2, or 1/2 times 2, which is 1. So from the focus, we go 1 up and 1 down. Okay? Also, if this value is 2, we know that whole distance should be 2, right? And 1 plus 1 is 2? Yes? Okay? And we can draw our curve from our vertex to the focal chord endpoints. Okay, what is my focus? What is that ordered pair? Negative 2.5.
Negative 2.
Negative 2. My directrix is where? Good. X equals negative 3.5. What are my focal chord endpoints? Negative 2.5, negative 1, good, negative 2.5, negative 3. My line of symmetry, we know, goes through the focus and the vertex. And what is that line? Y equals negative 2. Very good. Any questions?
So the only extra thing is the line that's
Okay. Okay, what type of graph is this next one going to be? Parabola. How do you know it's a parabola? Very good. Only one squared term. Okay? At the way that this is written right now, I am not sure if it's going, well, we know it's going to be going which direction? Right or left? Right or left? But we want to get this in the correct form. We want to get the x by itself in order to for sure know. So we're going to change this into descriptive form. What would we do first? We could divide by 5 first. Is that what everybody thinks we should do?
Yes.
Okay, let's do what you guys think. So we're going to divide by 5 to everything. Okay, so this 5 is connected with this parentheses. So when I divide it by 5, it's like this. Okay, so here these cancel out. You would have 1/5 y minus 1 squared. And then we still have plus x plus 2. You can keep in parentheses or not have it in parentheses. Equals, and then we would have 0. What do you want to do? You guys want this whole thing to go to the other side?
Yeah, because it's
You want the x to be by itself? You want to just subtract x?
no.
If we subtract x, it's going to be negative x over here, which is not going to be good.
So then,
If we take, because this is all connected together, right?
so just subtract.
If we take this, yeah, we can subtract this whole thing to the other side. So if I just move that to the other side, we'll end up subtracting it. And so I'll have x plus 2 equals what? Negative 1/5 y minus 1 squared.
And just
So instead of writing, subtracting that, okay? And then the last step to get x by itself would be to subtract 2. So x equals negative 1/5 y minus 1 squared minus 2. Okay, so now that it's in the correct form, what direction will this go?
Left.
Left. Okay, so we know it's going to go right or left because of it being x equals. And then it's specifically to the left because this value is negative. What is my vertex?
Negative 2, 1.
Very good. Negative 2, 1. We set y minus 1 equal to 0. That gives us the y value of 1. And then we have negative 2 for the x. Okay, when we graph this, we go negative 2, positive 1, and label that with a V, knowing that it's my vertex. Okay, how do I know how far to go in each direction? 4c equals what? 5. We divide by 4 to both sides, and we get c equals what? I'm going to write that as 1.25. Is that okay? So, since the graph is going left, where will I go for my focus? Left, 1.25. So that should be my focus. My directrix, I'm going to go to the right, 1.25. What about my focal chord endpoints? If you double 1.25, you're going to get what? 2.5. Or if you cut 5 in half, you get 2.5. So we go 2.5 in each direction from the focus, and then draw your parabola. Based on what's here, how many times does the graph touch the x-axis? 1 time. So number of x-intercepts is 1. It touches the x-axis 1 time. How many times does this parabola hit the y-axis?
0.
0. What is my line of symmetry?
X equals negative 2.
Y equals
Oh,
1.
Y equals 1. Do we have any questions on this one? Okay, we're going to skip this one for... Actually, we can do it really quick. Okay, so we need to put this into the correct form. What will I need to factor out?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. I divide each of these by negative 2, and what do I end up with?
X squared.
X squared minus 2x plus blank, and then we have,
Minus 5.
and then what?
Plus 2 blank.
Plus 2 times blank. Any questions on those numbers? Do we know why this is a negative 2? 4 divided by negative 2 makes a negative 2. Okay, what do I do next?
Divide the negative 2 by 2.
Good. Negative 2 divided by 2 equals?
Negative 1.
Negative 1, and negative 1 squared is? 1. My equation will be y equals what?
Negative 2. X plus 1.
X minus 1 squared, and then we end up with negative 5 plus 2, which makes negative 3. What's my vertex? 1, negative 3. What direction? Oh, well, first of all, this is making what type of graph?
Parabola.
And how do we know it's a parabola?
Because it has only one square.
Only one squared term. What direction will it go?
Yeah.
Down is correct. It's down because it's up or down. Y equals negative down. Okay, right 1, down 3, make a point. Label that as your vertex. How do I know how far to go for my focus and directrix? 4C equals,
Negative 2.
it's always the reciprocal. Oh no, sorry, just kidding. 4C equals
Negative 2.
-2 or 2. And then what do I do?
Divide by 4.
Actually, it's not 2. It's always the reciprocal, right?
So it'd be 1?
It would be, what's the reciprocal of 2? 1/2. Okay? Remember even here, 4C equaled, we flipped this around and made it a 5. Right? 4C equals the reciprocal of 2, which is 1/2. Are we okay with that? Okay. Then we divide by 4 to both sides. Do we know how to divide fractions? Yes. 1/2 divided by 4, or 4/1. How will that change? Keep it as 1/2. Change the multiplication. Flip 1/4 to be, flip 4/1 to be 1/4, which ends up making
1/8.
1/8. So that means that our focus is going down 1/8. Okay? Our directrix is going up 1/8. If you double 1/8, so if we take 1/8 and you multiply that by 2, what do you get? 2/8, which is 1/4. So you're going 1/4 to each side. It's very small. It's not a great fun graph. Okay, but how many x-intercepts does this graph have? 0. How many y-intercepts does it have?
1.
It's going to end up having 1, right? As this goes out, at some point it will touch the y-axis. It will have 1 y-intercept. And what is this line of symmetry? X equals 1 is correct. Okay, we are going to try to do one last problem. Okay, what type of graph is this one going to be? Circle. Okay, how do you know it's a circle?
2 squared.
Okay, so we're going to write this out as x squared plus 6x plus blank plus y squared minus 4y plus blank equals, we take the negatives, or the 6, we bring it to the other side, it makes a -6, and we need 2 blanks. Completing the square. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. 9 goes into each of my first blanks. -4 divided by 2 is, and -2 squared is, 4 goes in each of the second blanks. We end up getting x plus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals, we add that together and you get 7. When you write your center, it is at -3, 2. Your radius is always the square root of this value. Square root of 7, which is approximately equal to 2.6. Okay, I know I'm going fast. I'm very sorry. -3, positive 2. This is my center, and I wrote too far on this. That's my center. And we're going to go 2.6 in each direction. So about 2.5, I'm just going on my graph in each direction. When you draw your circle now, we can answer all these questions. How many times does the circle touch the x-axis? Twice. How many times does it touch the y-axis? 0.